Hello, everybody. Welcome to this Lunch and Listen. I'm Greg DeGroot-Majetti, the Walking with People in Poverty Program Coordinator for MCC Ontario. And you know, the year 2020 is a really significant anniversary for MCC. It's our 100th anniversary. It also happens to be a significant anniversary for one of our local programs, one of the programs that's part of the Walking with People in Poverty program area, and that is Circle of Friends. So I'm really happy that you can join us. A number of the staff from the Circle of Friends team and a couple of our participants are here, and they're going to share with you the story of Circle of Friends. So I'm going to hand it over, and they can get going.
Thanks for being here today, everyone. Just a quick look at our agenda. So we're going to start off with a poem. This is a poem that another participant who couldn't be here today, named Charlotte, and I wrote together. And so Deanna has graciously offered to fill in at the last minute, which we're very, very thankful of her to do that for us. So we'll share the poem with you. And then Cindy's going to tell a bit about what Circles is and does. We're going to see a video that's Wayne's story. So Wayne is here with us today to answer questions afterwards about the video. And then Reed, who's another Circle staff, is going to talk about the last 20 years, everything, or some highlights of what's happened. And then we'll have a time for your questions. So that's why Wayne's up here. We're going to have a little panel where people can ask questions, and participants and staff will answer the questions. So yeah, thanks for being here. We'll get started with the poem. It's a familiar feeling I imagine you too might have experienced. Shoulders hunched against the cold, hurrying to whatever important thing is scrawled in my date book, I muster an apologetic smile, whisper a quick, "Oh, I'm sorry," and sail on past the outstretched palm belonging to a human being canvassing for help on the sidewalk. Now, I'm a social worker. I care about people. I have fancy pieces of paper to prove it. I tell myself that at least I don't ignore these folks I see on the street. If I have time, I'll say, "Hey, do you want to have coffee together?" When I don't have time, I at least try to offer eye contact and a smile, hoping to humanize the interaction. And I hope this counts for something.
It is something. It makes a difference.
But it's not enough.
It's definitely not enough.
I have to admit, sometimes I don't even do that. Sometimes I hurry past the outstretched hand on the sidewalk because there are no easy answers. And the need is great. And I can hurry on and think about something else because I don't know. I just don't know what it's like to not have a home.
I know what it's like to be cold, to be alone and outside, to lose everything you cared about, to be trapped in addiction, to be drowning in trauma, to be judged harshly by others, written off as
just another junkie.
To feel so helpless, so low you don't care anymore. To be afraid for your safety. To lose your self-confidence, your self-worth. To see folks around you who have been stuck in this lifestyle for years without hope. To see people around you dying. Every day you are on the streets, the less healthy you become, the less able you are to get yourself into a better life. Homelessness feels a lot like hopelessness. Despite everything I've been through, I am one of the lucky ones. I have made it through. Today I have been housed for 10 years. Today I give back by volunteering on the front lines.
Keep going.
I work to help people beat addiction and homelessness as a peer outreach worker. I have people who care about me and support me, but if you look around our city, you can see there are still an awful lot of people who need our support.
We have a lot of ideas
about what our community needs.
We need more affordable housing.
And more supportive housing.
We need food banks.
And community meal programs.
We need detox centers.
And treatment centers.
And shorter wait times for everything.
We need social workers.
And addiction workers.
And counselors.
To help us work through grief and trauma.
and good landlords, and more funding for rent support and better mental health supports, and more crisis respite centers, and
Whoa.
sometimes the need seems
so great.
Okay.
Yep. It's hard to know where to start.
Okay.
Hard to know what one person can do.
But you know what you can do. Just be friendly. Be a friend.
Support one person.
It could change their life. I know because a woman named Marion Best believed in me. She was there for me, and that made all the difference. We all need someone to believe in us.
We
We
all need to belong.
We all need community. We all need friendship.
Sometimes life hits you like a truck, and you need a friend.
Okay. Sometimes anxiety and depression pokes at you, and you need a friend.
Sometimes you need to hear another perspective. Get outside yourself. And you need a friend. Believe it or not, the little things make a big difference.
Like someone remembering your birthday, or asking how your cat is, or helping you move, or celebrating another month sober with you, or being there for a quick pep talk, or letting you support them when they are having a bad day.
Friendship is simple.
But it makes a difference for everybody.
For everybody. Let's hear it for Deanna! Woo! Really good job. Public speaking is not easy, so I really appreciate your gumption and bravery. Next up, we have Cindy, who's going to share some facts about circles.
Hi. Circle is made up of one woman and man transitioning from homelessness into housing, 2 to 3 volunteers from the community, and a facilitator, which is Circle of Friends staff. Circles meet once a week for an hour or two and either participate in an activity or spend time in conversation. Each circle is different and brings a different flavor depending on the needs and the goals of the circle participant, whether it's grabbing a coffee together, spend time going for a nature walk, a low-cost activity, or trips to get a food hamper. This helps relieve isolation and build relationships. We value what each person brings to the circle and look for ways that we can pull out those giftings and incorporate and support them in our time together. We also do monthly gatherings for all folks involved in the circle program, and as well specific groups like photography, cooking, and gardening with community partners, which helps create new opportunities and provide space for meaningful activity and for relationships to grow. Circles we are not professional social workers or counselors. We are people who want to walk alongside individuals that have experienced persistent homelessness and poverty.
Wayne was interviewed maybe a year ago. I'm not sure exactly when we made this video. Yeah, but this video is him telling part of his story. Yeah, so we'll watch that now.
My name is Wayne. I've been with the Circle of Friends for 5 years now. At the time, I was living in a men's shelter, the House of Friendship here in Kitchener. A friend of mine who worked at the House of Friendship told me about the Circle of Friends, that she knew someone that was in the circle. At first, I was hesitant about it because I didn't feel like I needed someone to find me friends. I was quite capable of finding friends of my own. But they had mentioned to me that that evening they were having a barbecue. I said, why don't you come out and see for yourself how the program operates? So I thought, I had nothing else really planned, so I thought, I'll come out and give it a try. Now, the thing I ran into now is that the program for many years has just been strictly a ladies programming. But the program was trying to expand into having men in the program as well. So I went to my first activity, and as I walked in the door, I couldn't see one male as I walked in. And you know how suddenly the room was silent and everybody looks at you? You know? So anyways, I said, well, this is a good spot for Mr. Spock to say that, Wayne, you are about to go on a journey that no man has gone on before. so for the first little while, it was difficult, as I said, but as I was determined that I was going to keep coming back, because there was no way that we'd get to know each other if I didn't come frequently, you know. So I was like the bad penny. I showed up at every activity that they had, just to show that I'm here. Sorry, you know. But I think I went to every activity there was except spa night. I participated in introduction to photography. I've attended a cooking class where they've taught me how to cook inexpensive meals but healthy meals. We've gone out together and shot pool. We've gone out and bowled. Just recently we've had our first talent night, which was exciting too. So for me personally, I don't have a lot of talent, but I did lip sync a song. I sang an old '60s song that I enjoyed. So that was a lot of fun to do. That's something that Circle of Friends brought out of me that maybe a couple of years ago I never would have done anything like that. You know, that I'm pretty shy, to be honest, or I have been, or I am. For me to do something like that was really kind of out of my character. But I had a blast doing it. It was a lot of fun. You know, my personal life hasn't been easy for a while. I can maybe call, you know, one of our facilitators like him or Deborah or Katie, and they can't always come to you. They're always busy. I realize that too. But they will take time to talk to you on the phone, at least. And sometimes that's all you need is just someone to listen. You don't need a cure. It's important for me to have that cushion to fall on, that, you know, that you're not alone, that there's someone out there that cares and is willing to be there for you if they can and to help you.
Thanks, Wayne, for sharing your story, and we're excited to hear more from you later. Now, Reed's going to come and share about the last 20 years of the Circles program.
So yes, 20 years, you can see a bit of a timeline up there, and I'm going to kind of just do a crash course on our history. But starting 20 years ago, Circle of Friends began as a partnership between us, Mennonite Central Committee Ontario, and the YWCA of Kitchener-Waterloo. So the partnership grew from a need that was noticed at Mary's Place, where there was an increasing number of women who were not only experiencing homelessness, but experiencing it more than once. At the same time, an MCCO board meeting in the late 90s, we identified local poverty, especially with women and children, as a pressing need that we wanted to respond to in Ontario. These two things led to the organizations collaborating on a new initiative called Circle of Friends, with a mission to support those experiencing isolation, poverty, and homelessness in Kitchener-Waterloo. So for the first 4 years, 2000 to 2004, Circle of Friends was managed by one full-time staff member, Terrelia Demuliner. My apologies on the pronunciation. In that time, we estimate she supported probably around 100 women in Mary's Place. In spring 2004, we actually ran out of funding, and the project was briefly suspended until a new coordinator, Jen White, came into place in December of 2004. In January 2005 to 2011, the program supported over 55 women and children at Mary's Place, all through Circles. In that time as well, there were a handful of others supported in one-on-one relationships. Before a circle is formed, staff will often individually interact with the residents or participants to help them out until we can get volunteers, but in that time, people will sometimes move on. So one-on-one support does happen. In that time, there were also 3 years when World Vision Canada funded the project through its Partners to End Child Poverty program. And in that time, we were able to hire part-time staff, Kim Weidman, and eventually Michelle Brenneman. From May of 2011 until July of 2012, Jessica Reeser-Rempel served in the role of project manager. Beginning in 2011, we began to receive a significant portion of funding from the Waterloo Region's STEP Home, or Supports to End Persistent Homelessness program. During this time, a social return on investment study was conducted that showed for every $1 invested in the Circle of Friends program, there was a $3.14 social return on investment after 2 years. In this time, we also again expanded staffing with a support facilitator role to include Sarah Holmes and Cindy McRae. Since 2004, we've had many expansions, not only in our staffing, but also in the activities we do beyond just regular circles. We now send out project newsletters that go to all participants, volunteers, and a variety of staff. We now meet monthly as a broad circle, so all of the individuals come together with their volunteers, participants, to meet often here for one large social gathering. We have a cooking group that helps our participants manage ongoing food needs, cooking healthily, and budgeting those things. There is a Mary's Place group called Ohana. We also do a whole variety of regular community involvement, from speaking to interviews, et cetera, et cetera. So Katie, who sadly couldn't be here today, started as the program manager in July of 2012. Right, or 2 years after that, with the closures of the Out of the Cold program, the Region of Waterloo gave us more funding to start Circles for Men. Up until that point, it had been strictly a women's program. In November of 2014, Mary Atema was hired to work specifically with our partners in the housing stability system, places like Supportive Housing of Waterloo Region, House of Friendship, and St. John's Kitchen, to start Circles with Men transitioning into housing within the region. In fall of 2016, we also began to expand our program work into Cambridge. Around that time as well, Deborah was hired to cover Katie's maternity leave, and when Katie returned, moved into a role of program associate. 2018 was also a year of expansion. Excuse me, these notes are, here we are. 2017, we brought Kim Walker in after Mary left to do her master's program. And then in 2018, Cindy was hired on as program associate for 2 days a week, as well as Pete Olson. And in the last year, I joined as a day and a half a week staff member. So over 20 years, there's been a whole variety of program changes and staffing changes, but through a 20-year history, the heart of the program has remained the same. I'll quote Katie in this moment. "We realize that as humans, we all have a deep need to be loved and to belong. We are made that way, and when those needs are not met, we get sick, we ache, and we fall apart. Circle of Friends is a movement of inclusivity and mutuality that works to support men and women transitioning from homelessness and isolation into community. In response to the universal human cry to belong and to be loved, Circle of Friends is an opportunity to walk alongside a stranger who is desperately seeking friendship and belonging." 20 years is a long time, and that was a very fast introduction from all of us. So I think now we'll open it into our question and answer. There's a variety of us here. One of us should be able to answer whatever it is you'd like to ask. So
what we'll do, I think, this is on. Is this on? Yeah. So if you have a question, I'll just come around with the microphone. You can ask your question. I do want to say a special thank you to Deanna and Wayne, as well as to Kim and Cindy and Reed for presenting today, and for Deborah helping to work the slides there. But what questions do you have about those 20 years of Circle of Friends?
Wayne, I have a question for you. What are the things that you're enjoying the most? If you had to pick your top thing that you love to do as an activity, what do you love to do the most?
I think I enjoy our Christmas dinner. I think that's sort of my favorite ones that I enjoy the most. It's I know the staff put on an awful lot of work for it. It's greatly appreciated. It's something I look forward to every year because of my situation. My family's been because of my personal life, my family and I have not been together for very often. So I find this evening important for me to feel like a family, that I'm part of something, that you're not, that people actually care about you, that you have people that look after you and things like that. So for me, that's my favorite one. And if I'm looking for a second one, I think it's our cooking one, which I enjoy as well. So we've learned a lot. I've learned how to cook a lot of things. Where I'm living now, I don't have a lot of things to cook with, but I have a lot of recipes in my drawer at home. So when the opportunity comes, the Circle of Friends has been so good to me. They've been there for me when things were really, really difficult. I think the one incident that this past year what was difficult for me was the place I was living. We had a major fire, and I lost my home, and I lost everything in my life. So for me, after the Circle of Friends and this, to be able to turn to someone and help you deal with that was wonderful. Again, you see how important friends are at a difficult time. And for the time I've been here, plus I have depression and anxiety disorder as well. So I receive support from everyone here for that as well. And that's something where you need the support, because it's sometimes people think they can do it on their own and they're strong enough. But as I learned along the ways, that you have to swallow your pride sometimes and ask for help. And everyone here, the facilitators and my fellow Circle of Friends, are there for you. It's really, I'm going off topic a bit. You just asked me what I like, but anyways, I get going. So
That's a great answer.
Oh, okay.
It's
Well,
wonderful.
but I just thought I'd sort of add on to it. But So, like I say, I think I've did a podcast with Ken, and it's important for me to have the support, that knowing there's someone there to help with transitions, and because when I was ill, I was really felt alone, that I was really, no one really cared, because even though things for mental illness are improving through Clara Hughes and her efforts to this, but I find people still shy away from it. Like, I've lost some friends that, all of a sudden you mentioned mental illness, it's like you might as well, say, and you have a stigma with that people see really tough cases on the TV, people that are really wild. They get used to that, but it affected my personal life, my marriage, and things like that, and I lost my job because of it, and it's been. As I said, it's amazing how quickly something can happen in your life where things are going along all right, then all of a sudden the bottom drops out for for some specific reason. Like, it's when I got older, the depression hit me harder than it did. But when I was younger, I've always dealt with it. But when I hit my 60s, it seemed to hit me really, really hard. So it was really, like I say, lost a lot of my personal life. I had to be hospitalized for some things. Was on all kinds of medications, and so it's been a dark journey to where I am today. So, but